obelisk.
Oh man, that is so like
I want to know her name.
Incriminating.
I want to know her name. And now we go live here. It's a 3-step process, folks.
There you go.
Sometimes you get, well, you never get the first step, but then there's step 2 and step 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, you get us just kind of ad-libbing. And I think here we are. I think we're live. This is the ad graphics to your live video. So must be something up.
Must be something.
So
I'm going to jump off my Wi-Fi.
We'll just say,
it always works faster there. Huh.
It is strange how that happens, isn't it?
I'm telling you.
I don't quite get it, because you'd think, nah, that's not the way to go.
There it is.
But
there we go, my friend.
Sometimes the Wi-Fi is the quicker route. So yeah, hey folks, welcome to Wednesday. Hope it's been a good one for you, despite some of the wet weather we've been having. But you know what? If you're like us, you planted recently, and this is really, really good for all those little green things to start sprouting up out of the ground and get going.
There you go. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have some of that. So it's the Evan and Aaron show. I'm Aaron. This is Evan. Evan sporting the lovely new Indy 11 scarves from over the weekend. And one of them is the Pride scarf. Awfully proud of Evan for getting it, but also for Indy 11 for having it. And they championed that cause from the outset. And I can tell you straight up that I would imagine there were probably some positive remarks and chants going on in the Brickyard Battalion over the weekend, because they're the cause as well. And then also he's got some sort of blue shirt on, I guess.
I had to do it. Because
you forgot last week.
No, I did not forget. And this is the thing, this is the type of friend I am. I let it go for a week because I didn't want to upset didn't want to upset anything. But
not at all. I thought one, Manchester United did not deserve to win the Europa League final, because they had their chances to put a lesser team away and failed to. And 2, not only did Chelsea win, but they played. That was a fun game to watch. As a neutral, Chelsea City was one of the best finals I've seen for a while. You don't always get good finals, and that was a good final.
And to beat them 3 times during the season, I thought the 2, first 2 were kind of like.
No, I thought Pep would have a plan, and I was really surprised that Pep appeared to have no plan B. Because plan A was a good plan. I understood what he was trying to do, and you guys rode a little bit of luck. I mean, you could have given up a goal. You really could have.
De Bruyne going out, that was rough. That was
rough. Sure, but there was about a 10-minute stretch there in the first half where you guys were, as the Brits say, under the cosh. I think you had 2 or 3 shots from within about 10 yards. That was some great defending, absolutely great defending, but it was definitely backs to the wall defending the Indianapolis Colts bend don't break defense. But you weathered it and then got yourselves a worthy victory. So cheers to you, my friend. And it would be terrible if something happened to any of your players in the offseason.
Whoa. Hey, here's the Conte. I mean, the guy played amazing. I mean, he's played amazing all season, dude. I mean, the guy is just, what is he, 5'7", 5'6"?
Have you seen there's a picture going around Facebook kind of showing his trajectory, his career arc. And it's something like in 2012 or 2013, he was playing in the French 2nd or 3rd division. Then the next one is he finally makes it to the 1st division. Then he gets bought by Leicester, comes to the Premier League. Year after he's there, wins the Premier League with Leicester. Very next year after that, wins the Premier League with Chelsea. I believe a year goes by, and then he wins the World Cup with France. Won, and then turns around and wins the Champions League. So, I mean, the last 6-7 years have just been a whirlwind of success, and it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I love the player. I absolutely love N'Golo Kanté.
And we got our first American. We got our first American to win.
Well, and he came on, and I was a little surprised at subbing him on, because I didn't really, it didn't seem the player you needed in the moment, but he worked his ass off. He never really he had that one chance on goal, and it was everybody's going to say, oh, I should have had it. And those people have never been one-on-one with a goalie bearing down on him and a defender trying to destroy them. But even better was he should face a little criticism for the final against Mexico last Thursday night because he was pretty anonymous, and then steps up and absolutely just, as they said, put it up where the spiders live.
Oh my
in
gosh,
that
dude.
corner, super ballsy, absolutely full of confidence, and then to run over and say, "Hey, Mexico, this is what we do to you."
Yes, this is. I'm telling you, it was a stretch of about a week where, if you are a true football fan,
as an American, you had to love this.
Oh my God! I mean, if you as an American cannot refer to soccer as football now. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, it was wonderful. It was wonderful to see Chelsea beat Man City 3 times. But in my opinion, I'm going to say it. USA Mexico is a contender for match of the year so far. I mean, just
yeah. I mean, the problem is it was not a great technical game, but it was full of intensity. It was full of a horrible referee who had no idea how to control the game, and both teams took advantage of it. I mean, it was the shithousery on display in that game was immaculate. What Mexico players were trying to do, what American players were doing when they realized the referee. I mean, honestly, I thought, oh gosh, now I'm forgetting. Is it McKenzie? No, not McKenzie. One of the other center backs for the United States. I mean, he was basically begging for a card, and he finally got one. But man, he just mullered a few guys when he realized the referee wasn't going to blow his whistle. So it was super fun to watch.
How large was Ethan Horvath, dude?
Well,
I mean, to come off now, listen, you know me, and like I am very, very partial toward goalkeepers. I were one, and to come in with that,
I think
pressure,
I recall you.
You should. You probably put 6 or 7 past me. To have that pressure, dude. To have that pressure in that setting. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, and to stop their number 1 goal scorer.
Yeah. Well,
that's huge.
What I think is really interesting is, both of those goalkeepers, Zach Steffen and Ethan Horvath, are not starters at their clubs. They play for decent sized clubs. Obviously, Steffen plays at Manchester City. That's a massive club. But Ethan Horvath is at Club Bruges. He starts plenty. He when they're in their cup games, he gets those starts. But I think both of these guys are used to coming on in a substitute, coming on in some situations, having to step in. And I think that helped Ethan Horvath in that moment. And unfortunately for him, he did get scored on. It came through traffic, and I'm not blaming him at all. But that can weigh on you. You're like, shit, I came on, and now maybe I'm giving up this game losing goal. And then we get ourselves back into it, and then Captain America gets us a goal, and then you think, oh shit, Mexico's going to tie this up, and we're going to get bonus football, which we don't really need more of at this point. No. And actually, we were going to go to penalties at that point, weren't we?
Right.
And Ethan Horvath just shut the door because that was a decent penalty.
It was a decent strike. That
had some heat on it, and as a left footer, he opened up and really laced it. And I mean, Horvath was just bang right there. I mean, that when you watch the replay of that, watch how far that ball ricochets. That's a big paw right there. So
that is, man. And what I enjoyed the most about it was just the anticipation. Like when he made that block, there was still, I think, 4 minutes left in the match. I mean, for international
there was still
competition,
time to go.
That's still some time left. But you knew, I mean, it was so good because you knew at that point you could just see the air come out of Mexico. Like you could just see that, that they were just frantic and they weren't focused and they were done. They did
have Herrera and Guardado, some senior players, but I got to be honest. And I know, some people say, well, they're not playing in the highest leagues compared to, Chucky Lozano and some of these other guys. But I tell you what, Chicharito has made a career out of scoring goals, and he would be a senior player. Carlos
against the
Vela,
U.S.
yeah, Carlos Vela. And I know people are going to say, oh, he hasn't played for 2 years. Maybe calling him in if you think you're going to play against the United States for something like this and get ready. Neither of the Dos Santos brothers were in there. I mean, these are
Right.
guys that have been mainstays for Mexico for a good decade. And yes, you do have to bring in the new guys and move on. But I think there was a point in that match where some old heads might have served them.
Yeah,
Now,
I
to be
agree.
fair, Linez came on and basically scored with his first touch, and he's going to be the future. I mean, they do have some youngsters out there, but so does the United States. So this rivalry is now renewed, and we're going to get at least another good decade of hopefully games just like that.
Yeah,
I'd rather see them all go Dos Acero again. For a second there, I thought it was going to be Dos Acero in the wrong direction.
exactly.
But
Exactly, man.
yeah, I
Man,
mean,
what a match. What a
it is a
match.
hell of a match. And you know what? While we're here, if you're enjoying the soccer section of this, we're just going to keep going with it, and we'll get to
Yeah, we'll
something
get it. Yeah.
something more serious here in a little bit. But I tell you what, folks, if you are a casual fan,
Oh,
uh, and you enjoyed what you saw in the last week or two, then I encourage you to set your TV to either ESPN or ESPN2 for basically the next 3 weeks, um, because the top European teams in the
oh,
world are going at it, and there is some fantastic talent out there. My pick is probably going to be France. Right now, I'd love to see England
interesting.
win it, but
Interesting.
I think France is well poised. But I'm telling you, you've got France, England,
Belgium.
Portugal, Belgium.
Oh,
Never count out Germany. Italy are
right.
looking pretty good. Switzerland are kind of an outside kind of a thing. If they got hot, I could see them doing it. I mean, this
Yeah. Yeah.
could really go a lot of directions. I think the French are poised right now. I mean, they've just got so many solid
They're
players
stacked, dude. They're
playing at
stacked.
top clubs. Um, who's your favorite? Who are
I think
you backing?
I think right now I'm probably leaning more Belgium. Um I the Belgians are tough, dude. I mean, they've got such firepower right now, and I like where they're going. I would lean Belgium, but man, it's hard to vote against. It's hard to go against Germany. It is so hard to go against Germany. I think I want to see Germany do well, and I want to see them win because I'd love to see. Well, first of all, I'd love to see my guy Werner do some,
Mhm.
do some good for the team, and do some stuff like that. But man, good Lord, it's hard to go for anybody in this tournament, man, because like anybody can come from behind and just.
Yeah.
This is why I'm so poised, dude. I'm like Friday 3 o'clock is D-Day for me. It's like I'm going to be watching this stuff over and over. I would go Belgium. I'd go Germany. Like you said, France is probably going to do it. IO agrees. I would say my dark horse though is England. I would say England is my dark horse, and I'd like to see them
Mhm.
win. I don't know.
If
What
you'd
do you think?
asked me this question a year ago, I'd have been very much behind Belgium. And the only tick against them right now is that Eden Hazard missed a significant portion of the season for Real Madrid, and he's such a wild card of a player. I mean, he's somebody that basically has free reign to roam around the field, and he's an absolute game changer. Is he on form? Can he pull a rabbit out of a hat? That's a big question mark right now. France just have so many top players playing
True.
well
True.
right now. Um, Germany, I never count Germany out. They've struggled to put together a string of results. They lost a few games. I don't know if it was qualifying or in friendlies, but Germans don't like to lose. Period. So
No.
that was that was kind of a shock to me. So I can't rate them much higher than that. England, I think, are in with a shout. I would expect England to be vying for the semifinals for sure. The question mark is, can the midfield both support the attack and be defensive? Can you put Jack Grealish, Phil Foden, Mason Mount, all these guys on the field
True.
and protect your back three? Does Harry Maguire start? I almost said Jerry Maguire. Does Harry Maguire start? Um, Is he fit enough? Do you play 3 at the back? Do you play 4 at the back? There are question marks, but
Right.
England you called him a dark horse. It would not surprise me one bit if they were to make this final. The dark horse to me right now is Italy, because they have looked really, really good in their last few games. And granted, not against great teams, but you can only beat the team in front of you. And you look at Italy's roster right now, and if you don't follow some of the lesser Italian teams, you're not, the names aren't going to jump off the page at you. And the ones that are the goalkeeper, Donnarumma, and the defenders that have been there for a long time.
Io makes a good point, about Belgium. I still am high on Belgium, though, because number one, Lukaku and De Bruyne. I think just for my mind, just those two playing together, oh man. But then you have the Hazard boys. I mean, it's like you've got them, and I understand that Hazard, Eden Hazard has not had, and he says hasn't had a good season since leaving Chelsea. I get it. But man, I think that playing for your country does something. I think it sparks something in you. That's why I'm kind of high on Belgium. I like the way the Belgian team looks on paper. But once again, I think that, and I don't know, I mean, I call him my dark horse because okay, Kane, Grealish, Mount, all those guys, Rashford, you've got all of these guys together. Can they create that chemistry, because they are young guys? Can they create that chemistry to get the job done? Yeah. I think they can. I think with Harry Kane, I think they can. For me, yes, Belgium is definitely the senior squad. I mean, Courtois is, in goal. I've got a soft spot for him. I mean, I think it's just going to be an incredible, like you said, next 3-4 weeks. I think it's going to be wonderful football that's going to be played. And I think you're going to see the best out of most of these players, man.
I hope so. My main concern, and I've been saying this for a long time, and I even kind of posted about it today because there was an article on, I think The Ringer maybe, that was talking about it. But, a shortened off, or, the truncated last season, which led to a shortened off season. So less rest, and then less of a preseason, another kind of crammed in truncated season, but they tried to play all the games. Almost no rest whatsoever. I mean, we're 2 weeks from the Europa, or I'm sorry, the Champions League.
Right.
For this weekend to start. So players really, I mean, guys like Bruno, I know my team, Manchester United, guys like Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford and Harry Maguire have basically played, 90% of the minutes of the major games over the course of this season. Guys that, Azpilicueta would have played a ton of minutes. I know Werner has played a ton of minutes. You look at Liverpool's squad, Jordan Henderson has played a ton of minutes. I want to see a good Euro. I don't want to see guys break down. But think about it. We're going to play this Euro, and then it's going to end the second week of July, and there will be games getting played 2 weeks later. Play-in games for the Champions League, play-in games. There will be international games shortly after that. And then remember, because we made the wonderful decision to award the World Cup to Qatar.
You want to go? You want to go?
Going to
go, man.
The World Cup begins in January 2022.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Man, we've got like football.
It's awesome.
It's wonderful.
It's awesome, but it's like extending the NFL season. You're
No,
going to
I
get a
get it.
worse
I get it.
product if the best players aren't out there.
If they're tired and they're
Yeah.
injured and yeah.
And
No,
I
I
want to
get
see
it.
it, man.
I get it.
I love watching all the football I possibly can. I absolutely do.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see and even stuff like what happened to Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
I felt
that's
bad.
an accident.
I felt bad.
It's a complete accident. Rudiger didn't mean to do it, and it's just a fluke.
Yeah.
But think about how that disrupts. Kevin De Bruyne can't engage in contact soccer for probably a couple weeks while his orbital heals, right?
Sure.
So all he can do is get on a bike, maybe do a little bit of running, but I bet they don't want him doing a whole bunch of that because of the bouncing. So his fitness will suffer. And he's a guy who's going to try to come back and play at, I mean, the man is maybe the best central midfielder on the planet right now.
I would agree with that.
And he's going to try to come back and play at that level. And that's where the injuries come in.
Well, here's what I have to say. I am so geeked about this, Aaron. And do you want to share with everybody like what we decided that we were going to do on Friday, June 18th at 3 p.m.?
Yes. Good friends of the pod. We're hoping at some point to do a broadcast from the mighty Chatham Tap Fishers, but this is just going to be a gathering of anybody who wants to come out. If you are within shouting distance of my voice and you are able to get away from work or work remotely for the afternoon, England plays Scotland, the land of the Scots.
The Scots.
3 p.m. On Friday, June 18th. That is a week from this Friday. And
I want some haggis.
If you aren't familiar with your history, these two countries don't really like each other a whole lot and have a certain amount of animosity, and it has played out pretty nicely on a football pitch every once in a while. So,
yes.
And I'm pitted here because my Scottish ancestry, which I found I have also Irish ancestry, so I'll be rooting for them as well. But my Scottish ancestry has me at odds with my love for the English, national team and all those players. So thankfully I don't typically have to worry about that because the English just win. But who knows? It's the Euro. Anything can happen. And our boy McSauce plays for the Scots. So he could be eating some super haggis and destroying the English midfield. You never know.
Let's not forget, I was going to say Billy Gilmore, Tierney, McTominay. I'm just saying, this is what it's setting up to be, my friend. It's setting up to be some incredible football. So
I agree.
Incredible football, dude.
I'm looking forward to it.
We all remember Kansas goal against Scotland. Oh no, I don't, because I was not. I was not into soccer by then, or at that point.
Well, because we don't have, we're gonna ruin our monetization right now. Oh, you know what? Paul Gascoigne versus Scotland is the first thing that comes up on YouTube. Share screen.
Oh, yes. I get a history lesson. Excellent.
Oh, and let me explain the best part of this particular goal too. So, Paul Gascoigne, England versus Scotland. Can you see my screen? As I say in every meeting that I host. Let's see here. Liberty, Liberty.
Oh, okay.
Come on now.
When Zidane finished England.
Oh, I was at a buddy's house. I was at an English friend's house watching that match at Euro 2004. Because I was leaving in a couple days. Now, here you go. Some very good graphics here. Okay, over the top, up and over the defender, full volley.
Wow.
And now the best part. So days before this happened, a bunch of English players got in trouble because I think that at their hotel, there was a dentist chair. I don't know. Somebody had a dentist chair and they were doing shots. So he just laid down on the ground and that's what they were pretending to do because it was a big deal. Paul Gascoigne was an absolute alcoholic and died because of it. And that's sad. But he was also one of England's greatest ever players of that generation.
Excellent.
And so there's that goal. So hopefully that brought a smile to Io's face just then.
Very good. Very good, man. And with that, you know what? Oh my gosh, man.
What?
It must be my allergies. I have not prepared myself a shot.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go have to do that right now.
Well, while you're gone, I'm going to respond to Io here.
Go.
Io, I'm not sleeping on Portugal. Earlier on, I mentioned them. I think the only question mark over Portugal is they've got a lot of really, really good players now. When previously they had fairly serviceable players coalescing around arguably one of the two best players on the planet, and maybe one of the best players of all time. The difference is we might have the Ewing theory going on here. Would Portugal be better? I hesitate to say this out loud, but would Portugal be better if Cristiano Ronaldo weren't there? Because there's an expectation of getting him the ball. Now, Bruno Fernandes scored a beautiful goal today, and he does what he does. And I'm not really suggesting it, because I actually believe that Cristiano Ronaldo is not nearly as selfish as people make him out to be. If he trusts you and you're open and in a better position to score a goal than him, he will get you the ball.
Okay.
When he doesn't pass, that tells you what he believes in. And he plays at a high enough level that he can kind of make that decision.
Sure.
And
Sure.
Some of the best players can. Michael Jordan didn't pass the ball sometimes because he thought, you know what, my 80% chance of hitting this shot is better than that guy's 100% chance at hitting the shot, because my 80 is better than his 100, and
True.
maybe even more than John Paxson.
What does that say? What does that say about Steve Kerr, though, dude? I mean,
well, but that's my point.
Steve Kerr's he's a bad man.
Is that right now you do have a lot of guys. You've got Diego Jota. You've got Bruno Fernandes. You've got a plethora. Jefe, do you know what a plethora is? You have a plethora of Portuguese players that are scoring goals, playing at a high level right now. And Cristiano will probably recognize that. Now, he'll probably want to take every free kick. And I'd love it if Bruno said, nah, man, this one's mine. You got to score it. A la Owen Hargreaves. Yes, Man U fan.
There you go.
But no, not sleeping on Portugal, man. I think they're in with a shout. The rub is that if Portugal win their group and England win their group, somebody's going home early. And in that scenario, I think England figures out a way to win that game, but we'll see.
I would agree.
We'll see. So,
yep.
Mr. Evan, what do you got on the halftime shot?
Halftime shot. So my halftime shot is going to our dear friend of the pod, Michelle Freed. Michelle Freed's been under the weather for a little while and reported to the podcast. And so this shot goes to her. Hopefully she will join us soon again on pod. Just saying cheers, Michelle. Hopefully
got a little kissing flu going on. Is that what's going on? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what I'm hearing?
Can you hear this? I mean,
I can. I'm just wondering if, sounds like she may have the same thing for, not really sure why.
Wow. You know what? I keep it professional when it comes to the pod, my friend.
No, you blew that one a long time ago, bro. I'm thinking episode 3, it got figured out. I'm just saying.
Wow.
I'm just saying. But really, Michelle, okay. I hope I've been under the weather too, and it sucks to be not feeling great, especially as summer hits. So get to feeling better. Ev, you get to feeling better. Everybody out there, hopefully you're feeling all right.
That's right.
And I'm still not doing shots.
Yeah, there you go.
I will again. Don't worry. All right. So that was the fun part of the episode. And this doesn't have to be a downer by any stretch of the imagination, but as Facebook memories reminded me, and I had some great pictures and memories of it. It was something I had not done before. I'm not really sure why, other than maybe I didn't feel motivated. And that probably says a lot about me and about white America, even the woke folks of us. But this time last year were a lot of marches and a lot of sit-ins. And I participated in a few. I know Evan did as well. specifically with regard to George Floyd. And then a couple days later, Indianapolis had its own issue with Drajon Reed. And I won't go into that quite to the same level, but it did spark, some outrage as to the way it was handled. And even if the incident itself wasn't necessarily as egregious as people would had made it out to be at the time, the way it was handled still by the police was incorrect. The way they responded with information and things of that nature, and just in general as to how they responded to the marches on the city that were what I experienced were almost entirely peaceful. I saw very, very little aggression, and the aggression was vocal. It was not actual physical violence in any way. And I don't believe there was much of that. And multiple studies from independent groups have pointed out that the Indianapolis police, never mind police around the country in response to a lot of events, responded and escalated the violence themselves. But I was proud to participate in it, if that's the right way of putting it. I was proud to lend my voice just to the overall cause and the issue, and to really dive into what Black Lives Matter is supporting, and what a lot of other smaller groups have been, trying to draw attention to it for a long time. And I'm not pretending I just discovered this issue. I think if you've known me for a while, that I was certainly aware and vocal about it before that, but I hadn't participated in events for whatever reason. So I'm proud of having done so, and I'm proud of the way the city and its people responded. And I think certain dialogues got started from it. Evan, you participated as well. What are your memories of it, and how do you feel the city has progressed or not in the ensuing year?
I think first of all, let me say this. I really do. I've thought about this, and I've come to the conclusion. I love Indianapolis. I love Indianapolis. I love the surrounding greater Indianapolis area. We can say a lot of shitty things about the area and how racist it is.
It's racist,
but we can say that. What's that?
Said it's racist as fuck.
I know, I get it, but we can say that about a lot of areas.
We can
say that about almost the entire fucking nation if we wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But I do. I have a love for this area. This is the area that I've called home the longest. And for me, I think, thinking about and reflecting on, it's been a year. I think we kind of tossed this around a little bit last week, in the fact that, things have changed, but then things haven't changed. And I think what I reflect back on is just that feeling, being at those protests and being surrounded by people, who really cared about us. For once, it's like, damn, these folks really do care. Like, it's not one of those, it's not, I'm not trying to belittle religion or anything like that. It's not like going on a mission trip and feeling good about yourself by helping, small brown and black children who are starving. It literally was people who took the time to exercise their voice and to say, okay, this is enough. It was encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
It was enlightening, but it also sparked something in me. And this is something I wanted to kind of throw at you. It's a I don't want to say existential, but it's kind of a hypothetical question. We're learning about Tulsa. We're learning about Rosewood. We're learning about, people like Ida B. Wells. We're learning about people that we didn't learn about. What do you think this world would have looked like, Aaron, if the Gen Xers would have been given this information early on? If we would have been taught this stuff that we're learning in our 40s and 50s now, if we were taught this stuff in our late teens, early 20s, do you think that it would have made a difference in the way that America looks at race now?
Well, yes, it would have made a difference. How significant, I'm not quite sure. Um, I think Gen X is really a generation that grew up with new technologies, um, and we're the MTV generation, but that was also culture looking back at itself in a way that hadn't existed all that much before. Yes, TV had existed a little bit, but um, you know, it was I think late 70s. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like the first kind of, you know, somebody's gonna have to help me out on this one, but it was a movie, but it was basically kind of like, the real world kind of thing. The first time a camera had been pointed at a family and observed them, and then that observation came back to the rest of the world. So I think Gen X would have been very open to it. um, I think, there's what I've recognized is that there's a certain segment of people who don't have the capacity to take on new information and allow it to change their point of view. Some people just aren't capable of that type of introspection and willingness to say, I misinterpreted this, I got this wrong, and I can be better. It just, they recoil at it. But I do think Gen X, because it was one of the first generations to kind of have a camera pointed at it and kind of look at itself, was open to that. And you've seen it in every generation since. So I think it would have made a difference. And I think it would have made, I think all of it, talking about Tulsa, talking about Stonewall, it's Gay Pride Month, talking about Stonewall would have made a difference. It sounds silly, but remember a very special episode of Different Strokes or a very special episode of Facts of Life. That was our generation, right?
Fresh
like
Prince of Bel-Air.
Well, hey, when shit, what was Gary Coleman's name on Different Strokes? Arnold.
Arnold.
Arnold's friends, the pedophilia episode and shit like that. Like, that stuff was kind of, and that, that would be considered woke culture now. That'd be like, oh gosh, they're like pointing that this was okay. I'm like, no, it was never okay. People turned a blind eye to it. Maybe I've gone a little too far here, but my point is, I think we began having these conversations and we're open to it. And I think we could have had more conversations, because you look back now and some TV is cringy. I mean, let's take, the Friends reunion and all this stuff. It's sparking a lot of people to go back and watch some Friends episodes. Well, Friends was very homophobic. Friends was kind of fat shamey. Friends had some ideas of what ideals were supposed to be, and they were kind of skewed. But it was also the 90s.
Right.
And I'm not letting it off the hook for that. But I'm saying we now look back and look at ourselves in a way that you couldn't before then. You couldn't just grab a 70s TV show and watch it over again in the 80s. You couldn't do it.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, so let me ask you this. Like, I have debated this because my 15-year-old daughter, I don't know when or where she may have heard of this, or I don't know if it was in like a class they were talking about it, but she's like, can you tell me about All in the Family? And I'm like, yeah, that show, if you look at it at face value, you could be like, oh my God, that show's horrible. But if you understand the fact that show was exposing an undercurrent in America that existed, that was the norm. and how Carol O'Connor really played the part of Archie Bunker, as a caricature
Mhm.
to show the ignorance that was there. I think that shows like that um tend to transcend the shows like the Jeffersons, Good Times. There were things that were said in those shows that you can go back now and you could be like, oh, but the overarching reason why those shows were there, I think, were Good
Mhm.
Times was to expose
Yeah.
the racial wealth disparity that was there. The Jeffersons, to show no matter how far you make it, you're still black. You're still black in the eyes of America.
Yeah.
And All in the Family, that there's a lot of older white guys sitting there um who believe the same thing that Archie
Yeah.
Bunker did. And it's something that needed to be raised
No,
awareness.
you're
Now, yes, was it exposing or co-signing? That, once again, that's a great question. For me, as I look back at it, it was informative. It allowed me to see that, okay, yeah, there are people that whenever they smile at you, this is what they're thinking. They're thinking exactly what Archie's thinking, but Archie's actually saying it. So you're right. It's a very fine line there, man.
well, I totally agree. Because I hear comments from people and they'll be like, "Oh, you could never make a movie like Blazing Saddles now." Yeah, you absolutely could. You would use different verbiage, but you would be making the same sorts of social commentary. Look, every generation is going to change. It's going to update, and we have for as long as humans have been communicating with one another, have been sort of chiseling away and saying this is a better way of saying things and this is how we should look at people and culturally get better at this, but it takes time, um, and we don't all advance at the exact same time, and we shouldn't be shaming people for trying to be better if they aren't quite on our wavelength. I think that's the criticism of cancel culture. I don't believe in cancel culture, but
Sure.
I believe
Right.
a legit criticism is, look, if somebody's ostensibly on your side and trying, look, you can critique them, but don't criticize them. Say,
Right.
hey man, I get it. I think you could probably say it a little bit better this way. And you know what? Chances are that person will respond positively to you. But when you do go hard on people, and I again, I don't think cancel culture is really a thing. I think there's consequences for behavior, and it's how you respond to that. And yes, I think sometimes people go too far in their criticism, and that's the give and take. That's the push and pull of all
Yeah.
culture
No,
moving
no, you're
forward.
right. You're right.
But I totally agree with you. Yeah, you would not make All in the Family exactly the same way now, but you'd still make that show. In fact, I think there are certain shows that exist like that. I think Blackish does a good job of pushing similar ideas from a different perspective, but let's face it, it's the same kind of concept. I think there's tons of media out there that are pushing these boundaries, and you can still say and do certain things. You just need to acknowledge that maybe that shit just wasn't as funny as you thought it was previously.
Right. Right.
You know?
Exactly. Exactly. That's a good point, dude.
So
Good point. Damn. I am so congested. I have no idea where that came from. I didn't even eat a cicada today.
you need a Sudafed.
I don't know what I need. Holy crap. I I do know what I need.
Oh yeah.
I do know what I need.
All right, man.
I need me some Hey Aaron, ladies and gentlemen. We have come
Aaron.
to the Hey Aaron segment. And as advertised tonight, um, this Hey Aaron segment is for the ladies.
Ooh.
Um,
Should I
it
put
is
on a little
ladies'
mood
night.
music for this?
Well, I was going to do some mood music, but I think instead I am going to share my screen.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. I will hold on. Actually, let me get set up here real quick. How about that? Meet me outside. How about that? Yeah, here we go. All right.
Of course we get. Of course we get. Oh, skip ads. Yeah, skip it. Skip it.
I'm not
Skip
paying
shit.
for it. I'm like you. I'm not paying for it, dude. Unfortunately, we can't hear it because you didn't enable your audio. Oh,
Really?
no. Yeah, we can't hear it, dude.
Can't hear me that?
No.
All right. Well, I'll just stop sharing and.
Dang it. We know what you meant. We know what you meant, brother. And thank you for that. We appreciate it. Yeah, this is a ladies night on Hey Aaron. Aaron, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to give you I'm going to show you a picture of an actor. What are you laughing at, brother? I'm going to show you a picture of an actor and 2 movies that he has starred in, and you're going to have to choose which movie is the best. Okay. Which one do you prefer him in?
For the ladies. Okay.
For the ladies. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So here we go.
You are not sharing your. Oh, yes, you are now.
No, I am. Do you prefer the Hobbs and Shaw, Idris Elba? I'm about to show you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there he is right there. Okay. Yep. Nice fade. Or The Wire, Idris Elba. Okay. Got the shade.
See, your question is basically young looking versus distinguished looking.
I was going to say, be careful. Be careful.
Idris Elba, because he was super smooth in The Wire. I mean, he's just cool. He's a smart guy. But I think I've not seen Hobbs and Shaw. Haven't watched any of those movies. But I would say that that's distinguished looking Idris Elba, just his more current look. And I think you got to go with that. The little bit of salt and pepper he gets going on. And he's such a control. He was definitely a smart, controlled guy in The Wire, but he just seems so composed. He'd make a great Bond. I got to be honest. I love the idea of him as James Bond. And even if he didn't go like Luther's cool enough, but I definitely think kind of the salt and pepper, kind of more mature look it suits him. It really suits him.
There you go, man. Okay. No, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I agree. And Io asked a really good question. Where are you in the show? Where are you in The Wire, dude? Did you finish it?
No, I've been sadly derailed.
Oh, brother.
I'm sorry.
Man, oh man.
I know. I'm gonna catch out for that.
Okay. All right.
By the way, I can't get to our live feed for some reason, which is interesting since I'm running the show right now. But I can't get to the live feed. So yeah, if there's any comments that come in, throw them my way. I love. Oh, wait a second. I looked at that wrong. Never mind.
Okay, go ahead.
The first thing I saw was Hugh Jackman in the middle of the screen, but then all I saw was Ryan Reynolds, and I thought that is the best troll Ryan Reynolds has ever done. That because he trolls Hugh Jackman all the time, right?
All the time.
So that would be the best troll with that. He would be able to like finagle Google results. So when you looked up Hugh Jackman,
no, Aaron,
I'm still here.
Dude, did I just lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, that's.
No, I'm here. I'm here. I'm still here. I don't know. I actually think Evan is the one.